Good evening, everyone. My name is Arabella C. Ignacio, and today we will be discussing all about the thesis report format in a quantitative approach. So first is preliminaries. As we all know, preliminaries, it is an action proceeding for something fuller. So in research paper or in thesis report, preliminaries consist of 6 categories, namely title page, acknowledgement, table of contents, list of figures, list of tables, and last one is abstract. So the first one in preliminaries is the title page. So since we have already experienced conducting a research in our senior high school years, we already have an idea what title page looks like. So just a simple discussion about title page. It is a page of a book composed of author, date of publish, as well as the place of the publication. This can be found at the very first page of your research or your thesis report. The second one is the acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is, in this part, you will be recognizing and thanking everyone who helped you conducting your research. The third one is table of contents. So it is a list listing the chapters and major sections of the thesis. So for example, you will be conducting a research entitled the effects of pandemic in the hospitality industry, and your chapter 3 can be found in page 33. So you can put that page 33 as well as the chapter 3 in the table of contents, so that the panelists or the readers will have an easy way to locate it. And next one is list of figures. So list of figures, it is the titles and locations of visuals. For example, are figures, drawing, photos, and maps. So given by the research title that I have provided earlier, which is the effect of pandemic in the hospitality industry, we can put a visual there or a figure such as hotels, in which the situation or scenario in the amidst of pandemic. So the next one, which is the fifth categories of preliminaries, which is the list of tables. So it's just the same with list of figures. It's just that happened that in the list of tables, it composed of tables itself, such as tables, Venn diagrams, and so on, or pyramid. And the last categories in preliminaries, which is abstract. So abstract, it is a concise summary of research paper. And in abstract, you can put there or you can write there what is the brief and the concise summary of your research paper. And mind you, in writing abstract, you should not put references on that part. It should be on your own opinion, since this is a research. And the next one that I will be discussing is the chapter 1. So the chapter 1 is all about the problem and its setting. So in the problem and its setting, it includes the introduction, research questions, hypothesis, and etc. So first thing is background. So background, it is the context underlying the research. It also contains rationale. So in the background, you will put there the context underlying in the research. What I mean by that is, since it mentioned rationale, which means and the reason why an action has been happened. So in the background, you put there why you would like to conduct this research, and etc. The second one is statement of the problem. And statement of the problem, this is your opportunity to explain what your purpose is about. So in the statement of the problem, you can put there why did you conduct this research, and also this is the opportunity that you can ask some questions further about your research as well. The third one is hypothesis. Hypothesis is this is the predictions about what your research will find. So given by the research title that I have provided earlier, which is the effect of pandemic in the hospitality industry. So in hypothesis, you can write there what are your thoughts or what are your predictions that might happen in the hospitality industry since there is a pandemic that has been happening for the past few years. Next one is RRL. It is a detailed review of existing literature related to the title. So you might be wondering what is the purpose of review of related literature. So the purpose of review of related literature is that you can synthesize into a cohesive summary of existing knowledge so that you can create a brief summary and connect it to each other. And next one is theoretical and conceptual framework. Theoretical part. So theoretical and conceptual framework describes the underpinnings of your work based on existing research. In my own opinion, it is like the same with review of related literature. It's just that happened that review of related literature is by word, but if you talk about theoretical and conceptual framework, it is based on graph, Venn diagram, and so on. And next one is significance of the study. So it refers to the contribution and impact of the study on a research field. So given again by the title that I have mentioned earlier, which is the effect of pandemic in the hospitality industry, you can put in your significance of the study what is the contribution that might help that specific research title in the hospitality industry, which is that field, namely. The last one is the definition of terms. Definition of terms, this is the main terminologies that are present in the research. So in definition of terms, you will be putting some jargons based on the research title that you have picked or chosen. So since our research topic or research title that I have given earlier was all about hospitality industry, we can, for example, we can put there the ADR, since that is a jargon in hospitality industry and not all people can understand that. In hospitality industry, ADR means average daily rate. So that is an example for definition of terms in our research topic.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Shaninder Hala and I am assigned to discuss chapter 2, which is the method. As you can see, there are 6 parts in here. But first, let me discuss the first one, which is the research design. So what is a research design? Okay. Uh, a research design is all about establishing a cause and effect relationship with your variables. It is like a true experiment wherein you're going to investigate the characteristics or a trend depending on your study. And then the next one will be research respondents. So in this part, we're just going to discuss the individuals who are involved in providing data and information for your research study. And then for the next one is, research local. So This one will be it contains the information about where did you conduct your study. It is all about a place, the setting of your study. So you're going to have, you're going to discuss a brief information about the study, about where did you conduct your study. And then, sorry for that. Okay, and then the next one will be research instruments. So in quantitative research, mostly students uses a um, they use a test or a closed-ended questionnaire for them to analyze and um, gather the data they have found in their instruments. And the next one is data gathering procedure. So in this part, you're just going to tell about how did you gather your data. Have you established this kind of systematic way for your respondents to answer the question that you ask, like that. And then statistical treatment, this one, statistical treatment of data. So this part is you're just going to make your raw information to be more easier to be understood. So to make it more very specific, I guess, like that. Um, it is by being making your information to be more interpretable. That's it. And then for the next chapter, chapter 3, it is results and discussion. So for the results, you're just going to discuss what are the information. You're just going to report what are the information that you have found in your study. And for the discussion, is you're going to discuss or you're going to interpret the meanings of the results in your study. You're going to make a context. You're going to make a context about your results and as well as make an explanation why does it matter. So that's all for my part, and I will be going um, to give the stage to my co-reporter.
Recommendation. Re- um, recommendation are arguably the most important part of the analysis phase. This is where you'll suggest specific intervention or strategies to address the issue and constraints. To identify the assessment, recommendation should directly respond to key findings, arrive at truth data collection and analysis. Reference. Um, reference quantitative research deals with the numbers and statistic. What? Yeah. And then appendice. Quantitative. A supplementary document that facilitates your readers understand of your research, but it's not essential to your core argument. And lastly, curriculum vitae. Vit, huh? Vitgay? Vitgay or vitae? A summary of one personal history and professional qualification submit as a part of job, graduate, graduate school or internship application process. Uh, the Preliminaries, title page.
Wait lang!
Tina? Chang?
Gina.
Okay. Preliminaries title page. Title page is the first page of document or a book that includes the title of the work, the author's name, and any other relevant information. It is typically located at the beginning of the work before the main body of text. Acknowledgement is a section of document or book where the author or authors express their gratitude or appreciation to people who have contribute to the work in some way. It is typically located at the beginning of work after the title page and may also be referred to as dedication or preface. The table of list of table, essentially an outline of the manuscript list and preliminary page beginning with the abstract. And the list of figures and supply all the figures and table that you used in your thesis or this dissertation and display with the page number where they can be found. And lastly, the abstract that explain the background, purpose, and focus of your paper, but not the results or conclusion. Done.
Yung talata kay ka nagbasa dahil gago siya siyo.
Kailan?
Stop sana ka ano.
Oo.
Para mahuman ako ni. Chapter 1, the problem in its setting. First is the background of the study, the first section of the paper, to establish the context or underlying your research, and it's constrained to rationality and the key problems that are addressed in the rest of your paper. A background of your study, as you discuss your findings in a chronological manner, and the field of missing points that need to be addressed. The background should be written as a summary of your interpretation of previous research and what your study purposes to accomplish. Second is research question. Set out the answer or choosing a research question is an essential element of both quantitative and qualitative research investigation, or will require data and collection and analysis of your study. This is also important in a sentence that defines what you will examine within with a population and what the outcome interest will be, or defining clear research question and the first and most important part of the project. Next is the purpose of the study. Study need to illustrate and also discuss how you will conduct your study in a kind of comparison we will make your study. Review of related literature or RRL is a comprehensive summary of a previous research. The RRL is a scholarly article, books, and other sources of relevance to a particular area of your research. The review should be enumerate, describe, or summarize and evaluate to clarify your previous research. Next is the theoretical lens. It's to provide um, particular perspective or lens through which to examine a topic. Scope and limitation. This is referred to the extent to which your plan your study or research your topic is done mainly to keep your research practical and feasible to closely related terms. It refers to condition or restriction. This is also important because the purpose of the scope and limitation statement is to provide an outline of what the project will address and what it won't address. Next is the significance of the study. It is important because it will refer to the contribution and impact of your study and research fields. The significance also signals who benefits from research findings and how. Next is the definition of terms. It gives your reader to understanding your concept of your um, study and to give some information to how you will be using those concepts in your study. And and this is also important. In short, if you have defined your key term, you'll be clarified to the concept behind your using using in the argument and that you wrote, and it will be added some custom or dictionary, and then this is the specific field to the dictionary cover. Next is the method. First is research design. This is a framework or research method. It will chosen by researcher to conduct study. It's allow researcher to sharpen the research method suitable for the subject matter and set up the studies for success. Research participant is called a human subject or an experiment trial or study participant. This is the person who voluntarily participates your research or to evaluate your research. Next is the source information. Source information is the person or thing or place from which information arises. An information source can be known or primary and secondary. Data collection is the process of gathering and measuring information on variables. An example is the data collection method includes a survey, interviews, tests, and observation. Next is trustworthiness of the study. Trustworthiness of the study or the rigor of the study refers to the degree of confidence in data. This is so important, so it will make it rational for people to accept research findings and to build a future research upon them to utilize them to inform public and to guide individual about your topic. Ethical consideration. It's a set of principles that guide your research design and practices. These principles include a voluntary participation, informed consent, and confidentiality, potential for harm and resolved communication. And this is also important to adhere to ethical norms in research First, norms promote to aim research that analyze truth and avoidance of error. Example is the prohibition against fabricating or data promote the truth and minimize error. Next is the analysis treatment of data. This is taking raw data and turning into the small that can be interpreted and used to make a decision. This process is important for business because it's allowed them to take feedback and turn into actionable insights. This is data greatly depends of the kind of experiment and the desired result of your survey. For example, is survey regarding to election or mayor, like parameters like age, gender, occupation, and etc. Would be important in influencing the person decision to vote.
Good day, everyone. My name is Risha Euro, and for today's video, I'm going to discuss the chapter 3. So in chapter 3, you can find the result and discussion. Result. The method section is followed by the result or findings section, which come before the discussion section. This is where the creators give the information gathered during the review. Because it's frequently quite technical, that data can sometimes be difficult to comprehend. So discussion. The discussion section comes before the conclusion and recommendation section and follow the result section. The authors indicate the significance of their findings here. The study findings are logically explained in this section. Typically, citation of the study discussed in the literature review are reapplied here because those explanations are typically reached by comparing and constructing the result with those of previous studies. So, in addition, the study limitation and possible implementation for the problem posed by the research question are typically discussed in this section. Um, because it's finally get to an agreement, this section is very important. So, for the chapter 4, chapter 4. So, in the chapter 4, it will discuss the conclusion and implication. So, the conclusion is the very last part of the thesis or dissertation. It should be concise and engaging, leaving your reader with a clear understanding of your main findings, as well as the answer of your research question. Um, it should clearly state the answer to your main research question. So the um, implication are potential questions for your research that just satisfy further exploration. There are states how your research finding could affect policies, theories, and or practices. Implication can either be practical or theoretical. So in the chapter 4, it include the con- it include the concluding remarks, implication for practice, reference and appendix, and curriculum vitae. So first is ano. So first is concluding remarks. So in concluding remarks, it clearly state the answer to your main research question, and the second is the implication for practice. It will discuss what your finding might be for individuals who work in your field of the studies.